Hey, this is Angie with Emotional Wellness. We're going to do a session today on that I surrender to the truth that diets don't work. And the things that you're going to need is you're going to need your basic Aroma Freedom oils. So the memory release blend, which I put into a dropper bottle, makes it easier than 3 separate drops. Remember, that's equal parts of lavender, frankincense, and stress away. Then you're also going to need inner child and release, as well as believe. Now, as you're gathering these oils, if there are any other oils that come to your mind, grab those as well, because they may be ones that your body is telling you you will use during your session. Another thing to make sure that you have is a pen and something to write on. I am using my journal, the Aroma Freedom Pocket Journal. There's one for beginners, which gives you 26 sessions and is very detailed. So if you're just starting out on this journey, you want to get one of those. Or the advanced, which is the one that I've got, which is 52 sessions. So if you're doing one a week, the advanced book will cover you for a year. The beginner book will cover you for 6 months if you're doing it weekly. And I do recommend that you do this at least once a week. You could do twice a week, but please don't do more than that. Okay, so the intentional goal statement is I surrender to the truth that diets don't work. And when I rate that, it's a 5. I've been doing this for a while. When you rate yours, it may be lower than that. If it's higher than that, you may need to play with the wording. Either I easily surrender to the truth that diets don't work, or you could pick a different word than surrender. I just use the word surrender because I don't believe that we are to truly accept some things. And this is one of those things that I don't want to accept, but I can surrender to it. Okay, what does the negative voice say that tells you this is not possible? Mine says you've been trying to believe this since 2013. And how do you feel when you hear this negative voice? How do I feel when I hear what it's saying? Frustrated. And where do you feel this in your body? I feel it in my shoulders. Now, drift back to an earlier time when you felt the same way and get a snapshot, either a single image or you may have a series of images that come up. Either is okay. It's also okay if nothing comes forward, if you have no memory that comes up. Now, I'm going to do this for myself, and I'm going to warn you right now, I'm not going to tell you what my memory is, because it's none of your business. Just as your memory is none of my business. This is the part that you can keep totally to yourself. Okay, so I felt the same way, frustrated in my shoulders. Okay. Have mine. When you're ready, we're going to move on, and if you're not ready right now, just pause it and restart it when you're ready. Okay, so I'm going to use surrender because that's the one that's in my statement, and Young Living has a surrender blend. So that's what I'm going to use for this round instead of the memory release blend. That's exactly how flexible this is. So if you don't have lavender, frankincense, or stress away, you could choose a different oil. A Lang Lang would work. Trauma Life can work. Pine could work. Frankincense by itself can work. Okay, so I'm using surrender. And I must really need it because I got 2 drops. All right. So I'm going to take a moment to breathe in the oil. I'm just noticing what is happening to the image as I breathe in this oil. The image of the memory could move or shift, fade, turn into another memory. It could go completely away. It could blur. Whatever is happening for you, just notice it. We're not passing judgment on it. It's not, am I doing this right? Is this a bad thing? Is this a good thing? It's none of that. It just simply is. It's what's happening. So what you're focusing on is what's happening. Just notice what is happening to the image of your memory in this moment. Now just notice what happens to the emotion that you were feeling. If it begins to intensify, please don't stop that. Just allow it to happen. Ride that wave of emotion all the way through to completion. Just let the emotion move through you until it's not moving anymore. It may feel kind of stuck, or it may change into another emotion. That's okay. Just notice. And notice what happens, or what has happened to the place in your body where you were feeling that emotion. It may have relaxed, it may have moved to another location, could be completely gone. Just notice. Again, we're just in this moment. We're not worried about the next moment. We're just right here in this moment. If you feel as though you've gone as far as you can at this time, just open your eyes. Lower your hands if they're still at your nose. And sit for a moment and just really notice the changes. Make note of what happened to the image for you, what happened to the emotion that you were feeling, what happened to where it was sitting in your body. And then take a moment to notice what the inner voice is saying to you. It may be saying the exact same thing. And it might be louder, or it might be quieter, or it could be saying something completely different. If it's saying something completely different, make a note of what it is saying. Now read your original statement again. I surrender to the truth that diets don't work, and read it a second time. Where are you now? I've moved from a 5 to an 8. Now, to determine whether or not you are going to move forward or if you are going to do another round, ask yourself the question, when I reread that statement, what does the voice have to say about that statement? I surrender to the truth that diets don't work. My mind is saying truth. They've only made you fatter. And then how do you feel when you hear that negative voice or positive voice or neutral voice? What's the one word emotion that you feel when you hear this? For me, I feel validated. Now, some people may say, well, that's not an emotion, that's a judgment. The next question for you would be, where does it sit in your body? Do you feel it somewhere in your body? If you do, use it. I actually am feeling it in my heart. So we're going to go with that. And I'm going to drift to an earlier time and place when I felt the same way to see if I get a memory that comes up. I'm going to make note. Because again, my memories are my memories. In this round, you would choose inner child or another oil, whichever, if there's another oil that's coming to you. For me, it's ylang ylang. So I'm going to use ylang ylang. If you're not sure what to use, just use inner child. Okay. Just going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to breathe through it. Breathe in the oil. And just notice what happens to the image of the memory. How does it change? No need to understand the why. No need to ask the why. No need to worry about the why. Just notice what is happening with the image. And notice what happens with the emotion. If it begins to intensify, don't fight it. And notice the place in your body where you feel that emotion. Just notice what is happening there. When you feel as though you've gone as far as you will at this time, lower your hands, open your eyes, and make note of what has happened. just notice and make note what happened to the image of your memory, what happened to the emotion you were feeling, and what happened to where you were feeling it in your body. And tune into that inner voice, and what is it saying to you now? It may be bringing forth a new belief, or a new mindset is starting to emerge, and make note of that. What's come forward for me is I know diets have no place in true wellness. Okay? I'm going to read the original statement again. I surrender to the truth that diets don't work, and I am at a 10. You may not be, so I'm going to take you through a third round. If you are at a 10, you can fast forward to the next step. If you're not yet at a 10, we're just going to go through the steps again. You have rated it. You know where you are. Listen for what the inner voice says to you about your intention or goal statement, and make note of that. How do you feel when you hear what your inner voice is saying to you? Just a one-word emotion. The first one that comes to your mind. And where do you feel that emotion in your body? Could be anywhere. Now, drift back to an earlier time when you felt the same way. You felt the same emotion in the same space in your body. And just see what comes forward. It may be a single image of a memory, could be a series of memories like a movie, or it could be nothing. And all of those are okay. Just notice and make note of what's there. Now that you have the memory, or not, grab your oil. You'll use either Release essential oil blend from Young Living, or any other oil that comes to you. Whatever that might be, use that oil. And put a drop or two in the palm of your hands. Rub your hands together and bring them up to your nose. As you breathe in the aroma of that chosen oil, imagine that you're breathing it into the image of that memory. And just notice what happens to the image of that memory. There's no need to worry about what's happening. It's okay. It's expected, whatever is happening for you. Now, as you breathe in the aroma of that oil, imagine that you are breathing it into that emotion. And if it begins to intensify, that's okay. There's no need to fight it, and there is no reason to rush. You have time. Take this time for yourself and allow your body to move through this emotion all the way through to the end, releasing every bit of it from your cells. Now take another breath in of the aroma of that oil, and imagine this time that you're breathing it into the space in your body where you feel that emotion. And notice what happens. You may find that that space relaxes, or that there's a shift or move, or it may go completely away. And either of those is perfectly okay. Just notice what happens in this moment. Once you feel as though you have moved as far as you can, open your eyes, lower your hands. Notice what happened in that round. Notice what happened to the image of your memory, what happened to the emotion you were feeling, and what happened to the place in your body where you felt it. Just make note. Also take a moment to notice what your inner voice is saying now. Is there a new belief or a change in mindset? Whatever is there now, make note of it. Now read your original statement and rate it again on a scale of 0 to 10. And where are you now? You're now going to move on to step 10, the affirmation. Now for me, my affirmation is going to be the new belief or mindset that emerged for me, which, remember, was I know diets have no place in true wellness. So I'm writing that down here. Okay. I'm going to use Believe oil. And I am going to stand in the Wonder Woman power pose for 2 minutes while I say my affirmation. Okay? And yes, you're going to get to hear me do that. This is the part where you stand and you say yours. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. I know that diets have no place in true wellness. You've done it for today. It depends on what time of day it is as to whether or not you're going to do it today again. But remember, you're going to use the same oil, the same affirmation statement, and the same pose for the next 3 days, twice daily, for 2 minutes each time. You heard my alarm. I set an alarm to make sure that I do it for 2 minutes. And I do it for 2 minutes. Okay? This is really important. This is the part that helps your brain to create a new neural pathway. And once that pathway is built, which takes 3 days, it will begin to collapse the other neural pathway that's holding the hope that maybe a diet will work, because they don't work. Okay? So, I'm writing today's date in my book, and I'm marking that I have done this for today. But you're not done. Now you're going to make some action steps. What is your plan to stay in that mindset? For me, I know diets have no place in true wellness. Obviously, one of the steps is going to be to follow through with saying your affirmation statement. Okay? And yes, I do make this, I think this is a good first step for everybody to have, because I know there are a lot of people who forget to do this for 3 days, twice daily. Okay, so make it an action step to get it done. So follow through with affirmation. 2, for me, it's going to be stay off the scale. Yep, every now and then I get on the scale. It's right next to the shower. And you may say, well, why don't you just get rid of your scale? Well, I'm not the only one living here. Otherwise, I would get rid of the scale. So I've got to change my actions. There's no reason for me to get on the scale. So I'm staying off the scale. Number 3 might come to me. Sometimes it's hard to create your action steps immediately after a session. But one of the things that I've noticed for myself, that you may notice for yourself as well, is that as you go through the 3 days of doing your affirmation twice daily, other action steps will come forward. Other opportunities to step into this new moment in time for yourself will become present for you, and make note of it. Again, that's why I have the journal. Really important. It's why I created it, and it's why I made it available for others. All right. So, that is the end of this session. Now, something that's really important for all of us to remember is that we have to program our mind daily. So as soon as one affirmation is complete or the goal has been reached, you have to create another one. Make affirmations a daily habit, and soon you will not feel right unless you have done your daily practice. This will keep you focused on the direction of your dreams. Feel free to experiment with different oils as you progress. Now, in saying to do this on a daily basis, remember I said an Aroma Freedom 12 step should only be done at most twice a week. But you've got 3 days of affirmations to do twice daily for 2 minutes. That's where you get your daily practice. Don't forget about the aroma reset, because that's there too. So if you're finding that you're faltering between, you can either stop in that moment and do your affirmation in extra time, or you can do an aroma reset. They're close to the same thing. Okay, so that's the end of this session. Thanks again for joining me.